as we all know, the presidential election just happened, so another one of these videos. Sorry if these videos are boring. So these videos in total are going to, in total clock around 2 to 3 hours, because the entire debate itself is 2 hours. So yeah. Okay. Basically, the CNN. Actually, who is this? C-SPAN had 25 minutes of uninterrupted silence. Thanks.
For Vice President Joe Biden and President Donald J. Trump.
I see no plexiglass barrier, or at least I don't think so.
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you. This debate
Okay, whatever. So this debate is hosted by CNN, the most unbiased news source ever.
will cover 6 major topics.
Here, let's play a guessing game. Race relations, police violence, the economy, coronavirus, let's see, random people attacking, and the vaccine.
At the beginning of each section,
Actually, no, scrap the vaccine. Random attacks, and am I gonna get lucky? Is it gonna have, what's it called? The Hunter Biden emails?
Each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question.
Yeah, you should look at the first presidential debate and how that went.
The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when
Oh, they'll turn on their microphones. Oh, that's smart.
it is their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, both microphones will remain on, but on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say. And
yeah, I don't think we need this.
So with that, if you're ready, let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question.
Okay, got one of mine.
Is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide
that came from China
pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places.
Nobody cares
right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. And we're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that's coming. It's ready. It's going to be announced within weeks, and it's going to be delivered. We have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military is going to
the best name ever.
Distribute the vaccine. I can tell you from personal experience that I was in the hospital. I had it, and I got better. And I will tell you that I had something that they gave me, a therapeutic, I guess they would call it. Some people could say it was a cure. But I was in for a short period of time, and I got better very fast, or I wouldn't be here tonight. And now
I'm guessing they also probably gave you antibodies, or basically the cure to all diseases ever.
Say I'm immune, whether it's 4 months or a lifetime. Nobody's been able to say that, but I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. If you take a look at what we've done in terms of goggles and masks and gowns and everything else.
Okay.
And in particular, ventilators. We're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributing them all over the world. It will go away. And as I say, we're rounding the turn. We're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former Vice President Biden, to you, how would you lead the...
Okay, I'm gonna guess, Joe Biden will say, no, it's actually not, it's getting worse, and then, classic Joe Biden.
country out of this crisis? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
220,000 Americans dead. If you hear nothing else I say tonight, hear this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control, in fact,
God, now you're blaming the American people.
Saying I take no responsibility initially. Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as President of the United States of America.
But he's not responsible for that many deaths. Come to Chinatown probably resulted in tens of thousands of cases. Same with your saying close the borders, and it's just the flu broke, probably caused tens of thousands, if not millions, of infections. And, well, if the mortality rate was 5%, or even 1%, 1 million, shoot. If the mortality rate was 1%, 10,000 deaths would have occurred. So if 1 million people got infected, 10,000 people would have died just from those events. Now, I don't actually have the numbers, but I'm just assuming 1 million people were infected because of all of those events and saying it's just the flu, bro.
We're in a situation where there are 1,000 deaths a day now. 1,000 deaths.
1,000? That seems a bit high. I'm seriously actually wondering where he got that. So let's say the pandemic started in March, right? Let's give you because the closer the numbers, the better it's gonna look for Joe Biden. Let's say it started getting bad in March, and 2,200 here, 2,200,000 people have died. So let's go find the number of months per day and then divide it by 22,000. Okay, Joe Biden's pretty close. This is only from March to October though, so take this with a tiny bit of grain of salt. There on average 925 people have died from COVID from March to October. So yes. Got it? Okay.
Deaths a day. And there are over 70,000 new cases per day.
But also, that's an average, so it's kind of misleading, as if you have a spike, no matter what you say, you could have a spike of 1 million, and then the next day have 1 death. No deaths. No deaths, 1 death, but the average would still be insanely high.
Compared to what's going on in Europe, as the New England Medical Journal said, they're starting from a very low rate. We're starting from a very high rate. The expectation...
Yes, and we've gone to a similar rate, meaning we're doing better.
The expectation is we'll have another 200,000 Americans dead between now and the end of the year. If we just wore these masks, the President's own advice...
Jesus Christ, okay. You really think a cloth mask can protect against an airborne thing? First of all, if you even adjust your mask, anything gets out and you're in an enclosed space. Oh no, looks like you've just released particles. If you adjust your mask or cough with anything exposed, Oh no, but that's not even saying that masks might work, because the sudden flow of air coming out might break the seal of the mask, spreading it. In other words, masks could actually not work, depending on how well well sealed they are.
Advisors have told them we could save 100,000 lives. And we're
Debatable.
in a circumstance where the president thus far and still has no plan, no comprehensive.
Trump's gonna go wreck him on that. He has a plan. He just outlined it. It's called Operation Warp Speed. Didn't know if you knew that.
Plan. What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure.
Encouraged. Everyone is encouraged to wear a mask. You already are. So I don't know how you're gonna force them to.
We move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses.
Yeah, but there's called a state of emergency, and the president kind of gets to decide that. We already have it. Joe Biden's plans are basically just to go double down on things we already have and don't need, because we already have it.
So they can be safe and give them the wherewithal, the financial resources to be able to do that. We're in a situation now where the New England Medical Journal, one of the most serious journals in the whole world, said for the first time ever that the way this president has responded to this crisis has been absolutely tragic. And so, folks.
Yeah. Tragic how?
I will take care of this. I will end this. I will make sure we have a plan.
President Trump,
we do have a plan.
I'd like to follow up with you and your comments. You talked about taking a therapeutic, I assume.
A therapeutic. Yes, he took a therapeutic, but of course he's not going to plan to distribute it.
I assume you're referencing rejection.
Whatever.
Vaccine will be coming within weeks.
Yes.
Is that a guarantee?
No, it's not a guarantee, but it will be by the end of the year. But I think it has a good chance. There are two companies, I think, within a matter of weeks, and it will be distributed very quickly.
Can you tell us which companies?
Johnson & Johnson is doing very well. Moderna.
Okay, Johnson & Johnson
is doing very well. Pfizer is doing very well, and we have numerous others. Then we also have others that we're working on very closely with other countries.
Yeah, he kind of just proved that he has a plan by being able to name companies.
Particularly Europe.
Let me follow up with you, and because this is new information, you have said a vaccine is coming soon, within weeks now. Your own officials say it could take well into 2021 at the earliest for enough Americans to get vaccinated. And even then, they say the country will be wearing masks and distancing into 2022. Is your timeline realistic?
No, I think my timeline is going to be more accurate. I don't know that they're counting on the military the way I do, but we have our generals lined up, one in particular that's the head of logistics. And this is a very
So in other words, they're having the head of logistics, the person who makes all the things run this.
Easy distribution for him. He's ready to go as soon as we have the vaccine, and we expect to have 100 million vials. As soon as we have the vaccine, he's ready to go.
Vice President Biden, your reaction, and just 40% of Americans say they would definitely agree to take a coronavirus vaccine if it was approved by the government. What steps would you take to give Americans confidence in a vaccine if it
have it FDA approved?
Or approved?
Make sure it's totally transparent.
Kind of like FDA approved?
Have the scientists of the world see it, know it.
Like FDA approval?
Look at it. Go through all the processes. And by the way,
like FDA approval, the thing that Trump's going through right now, like the second we speak. So yeah.
This is the same fellow who told you this is going to end by Easter last time. This is the same fellow who told you that, don't worry, we're going to end this by the summer. We're about to go into a dark winter. And he has no clear plan, and there's no prospect.
Joe Biden, he just told you your plan. He just said, we're going to have tons of vials. We have the head of logistics on it. He just told you his plan.
That there's going to be a vaccine available for the majority of the American people before the middle of next year.
President Trump, your reaction, he says you have no plan.
I don't think we're going to have a dark winter at all. We're opening up our country. We've learned and studied and understand the disease, which we didn't at the beginning. When I closed and banned China from coming in heavily infected, and then ultimately Europe, but China was in January. Months later, he was saying I was xenophobic. I did it
a month later.
too soon.
Actually, no, like not months later, like right after.
Now he's saying, "Oh, I should have."
Okay, he said that in February, so a month later.
Moved quicker, but he didn't move quicker. He was months behind me.
Month behind you, but he didn't really have executive action.
And frankly, he ran the H1N1 swine flu, and it was a total disaster.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Far less lethal, but it was a total disaster. Had that had this kind of numbers, 700,000 people would be dead right now. But it was a far less lethal disease. Look, his own person who ran that for him, who, as you know, was his chief of staff, said it was catastrophic. It was horrible. We didn't know what we were doing. Now he comes up and he tells us...
Wow. It's almost like Joe Biden has a history of failing with pandemics exactly like this one, but on easy mode.
How to do this. Also, everything that he said about the way every single move that he said we should make, that's what we've done. We've done all of it. But he was
exactly
way behind us.
Vice President Biden, your response.
My response is he is xenophobic, but not because he shut down access.
He's xenophobic. How's he xenophobic?
From China, and he did it late after 40 countries had already done that.
Yeah, in fact, he did it so late. It was on January 31st. Yeah, that's how late it was.
In addition to that, what he did, he made sure that we had 44 people that were in there in China trying to get to Wuhan to determine what exactly this...
Yeah, but the Chinese wouldn't do it. I had an entire video on this, and I basically disproved that on every statement. Joe Biden basically said, we removed all of the people, which is a lie. We had 14 people still there. But an CDC member said, hey, it wasn't our fault. It's China's.
The source was. What did the president say in January? He said, no, he's being transparent. The president of China is being transparent. We owe him a debt of gratitude. We have to thank him.
He never said that. He actually never said that.
And then what happened was we started talking about using the Defense Act to make sure we go out and get...
He's used it 78 times since March.
Whatever is needed out there to protect people. And again, I go back to this.
The first use of the Defense Production Act was on March 3rd.
Nothing. He did virtually nothing. And then he gets out
Virtually nothing. Virtually nothing. But whatever, that doesn't matter.
Hospital, and he talks about...
Wait, what'd you say again? Hospitals?
Virtually nothing. And then he gets out of the hospital, and he talks about, don't worry, it's all going to be over soon.
So what? And also, he never said that, although he said, hey, we're working on a cure, we're thinking if this cure actually works, it's going to be over pretty soon.
Come on. There's not another serious scientist in the world who thinks it's going to be over soon.
President Trump?
Seriously, Joe Biden. So any scientist who says, yeah, it will, is not serious.
Your reaction?
I say over soon. I say we're learning to live with it. We have no choice. We can't lock ourselves...
But yeah.
Up in a basement like Joe does. He has the ability to lock himself up. I don't know. He's obviously made a lot of money someplace, but
ooh, we're gonna get into that.
He has this thing about living in a basement. People can't do that. By the way, I, as the president, couldn't do that. I'd love to put myself in the basement or in a beautiful room in the White House and go away for a year and a half until it disappears. I can't do that. And Kirsten, every meeting I had, and I'd meet a lot of families, including Gold Star families and military families. Every meeting I had, and I had to meet them. I had to. It would be horrible to have canceled everything. I said, this is dangerous, and you catch it. And I caught it. I learned a lot. Great doctor.
Yeah, actually, him catching it will probably teach him the symptoms, and well, if they're serious enough, and if they're able to be minimized.
There's great hospitals, and now I recovered. 99.9 of young people recover. 99% of people recover. We have to recover. We can't close up our nation. We have to open our school, and we can't close up our nation.
Yeah, I don't get why people are trying to sacrifice kids' education for safety, because, well, you can't really teach things on online, and you can't really well, so which are we going to have? Safety or totally unprepared kids? I'd like both, which hint you can have. It's called wearing a mask, social distancing. I know I just went off about how masks don't work, but they work kind of if worn properly and all that. But well, okay. Joe Biden gets all his facts wrong. We already know all this. But he is continuing spreading misinformation and lies. But whatever, let's continue.
Or you're not going to have a nation.
And of course, the CDC has said young people can get sick with COVID-19 and can pass it. Vice President Biden, I wanted to...
Well, yes. No duh. He's just saying almost every single person recovers from it.
Talk broadly about strategy, though.
Ooh, strategy.
30 seconds, please, and then I have a question.
Number one, he says that we're learning to live with it. People are learning to die with it. You folks home will have...
Whew. That's not really what he meant, but okay.
An empty chair at the kitchen table this morning. That man or wife going to bed tonight and reaching over to try to touch their, out of habit, where their wife or husband was, is gone. Learning to live with it. Come on. We're dying with it. Because...
Also, you're just kind of making a point that he didn't really have. It's a figure of speech saying, hey, we're learning to grow with it and we're going to overcome it, not literally going to live with it.
Because he's never said, you said it's dangerous. When's the last time? Is it really dangerous still? Are we dangerous? You tell the people it's dangerous now? What should they do about the danger? And you say...
Oh, well, what should we do? I don't know. Maybe we should follow the CDC.
I take no responsibility.
Let me talk about your two...
What the hell? Okay, it's dangerous. I take no those have nothing to do.
I take full responsibility. It's not my fault that it came here. It's China's fault. And you know what? It's not Joe's fault that it came here either. It's China's fault. They kept it from going into the rest of China for the most part, but they didn't keep it from coming out to the world, including Europe and ourselves.
Vice President Biden.
The fact is that when we knew it was coming, when it hit, what happened?
What happened? Oh, he established the coronavirus task force and shut down borders.
What did the president say? He said, don't worry, it's going to go away. Be gone by Easter. Don't worry. Warm weather. Don't worry. Maybe inject bleach. He said he was kidding.
Jesus Christ. God damn it. First of all, he never said inject bleach. And second of all, it was a question. Hey, can we use some sort of cleaner to actually get rid of it?
He said that, but a lot of people thought it was serious.
Jeez, it's a question. He was asking, I don't remember who, if we could do this. As in, hey, this might work. Can we do this?
Range of things the president has said. Even today, He thinks we are in control. We're about to lose 200,000 more people.
Oh, God damn it. Models aren't science.
President Trump.
Look, perhaps just to finish this, I was kidding on that, but just to finish this, when I closed, he said I shouldn't have closed. And that went on for months. What Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. She was dancing on the streets in Chinatown in San Francisco.
Ooh, we're gonna bring up that. Oh wait, that completely invalidates all of Joe Biden's points. And if he tries to refute it, come to Chinatown.
But when I closed, he said, "This is a terrible thing, you're xenophobic." I think he called me racist even. And because I was closing it to China. Now he says I should have closed it earlier. It just, Joe, it doesn't work.
I didn't say either of those things.
You certainly did. You certainly did.
I talked
I'm pretty sure he did.
about his xenophobia in a different context. It wasn't about closing the border.
It was. Okay, even if you didn't directly, plenty of Democrats did. And so I don't really know if you did directly, but I'm assuming so because so many Democrats did. And if you were to go write a trend, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, well, you'd probably do that.
Border to Chinese coming to the United States.
But you said you did it in February and Trump did it January 31st. Well, yes, that is pretty close to February. Trump had the idea before you, and as Mike Pence says, that looks a little bit like plagiarism.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handling
He thought
this.
I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well,
That's obvious.
do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President
No.
Biden? Okay. Let's talk about your different strategies toward dealing with this. Mr. Vice President, you suggested you would support new shutdowns.
God damn it. Okay, here's what I'm gonna go think. He's gonna say, oh, blah, 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 Trump this, Trump that, oh, blah, blah, blah. He's not actually going to go talk about his strategy, or if he does, it's going to be a complete non-answer.
If scientists recommended it. What do you say to Americans who are fearful that the cost of shutdowns, the impact on the economy, the higher rates of hunger...
Okay, first of all, here, let's think about the economy for a second. If we go into a lockdown, we can't really do much, meaning bad economy, bad everything. Now, while the economy is the stock market, it's also how things are priced. So, yeah, it's also whether people have jobs or not. A weak economy is bad, and sacrificing the economy can sometimes be worse than public safety. But also, people are so afraid to go to the hospital to get tuberculosis treatments checked, cancer, all these horrible things. They're so afraid to because of the coronavirus causing more deaths. All because of this coronavirus fear.
Hunger, depression, domestic and substance abuse outweighs the risk of exposure to the virus.
What I would say is I'm going to shut down the virus, not the country.
Okay, how are you going to shut down the virus without shutting down the country? Also, lockdowns don't work. They're not a cure-all. Otherwise, we could just lock down. Oh no, it's gone away. Yeah, but as we've seen with Britain, not really happening. Well, yes, it is a preventative measure. They can be broken.
It's his ineptitude that caused the virus.
Told you.
Caused the country to have to shut down.
This is about your strategy, not Trump's.
In large part. Why businesses have gone under, why schools are closed, why so many people have lost their living.
Come to Chinatown.
And why they're concerned. Those other concerns are real. That's why he should have been, instead of in a sand trap in a golf course, he should have been negotiating with Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats.
Come to Chinatown. Again.
Republicans about what to do about the acts they were passing for billions of dollars to make.
The acts that they were passing. Like the one Republicans shot down from the Democrats to give 1 point or $105 billion to schools and colleges. Oh wait, that was the Democrats who shot it down.
Make sure people had the capacity.
But you haven't ruled out more shutdowns.
Well, no, I'm not shutting down the night, but there are, look, you need standards. The standard is if you have a reproduction rate in a community that's above a certain level, everybody says, slow up, more social distancing, do not open bars and do not open gymnasiums, do not open until you get this under control, under more control. But when you do open, give the people the capacity to be able to open and have the capacity.
How are they going to do that how are they going to do that if we have to have it under full control? It will take years, and by then, most of their things will go out of business.
To do it safely. For example, schools, they need a lot of money to open. They need to deal with ventilation systems. They need to deal with smaller
ventilation systems?
Classes, more teachers, more pods.
Okay. You don't actually need to go deal with smaller classes. You can break them into groups.
And he's refused to support. They need to deal with smaller classes, more teachers, more pods. And
you don't need that.
He's refused to support that money, or at least up to now.
Let's talk about schools. President Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York, you look at what's going on in California, you look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Democrats all, they're shut down so tight, and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools. And it's like, as an example, I have a young son. He also tested positive. By the time I spoke to the doctor the second time, he was fine. It just went away. Young people, I guess it's their immune system.
Let me follow up with you, President Trump. You've demanded schools open in person and insist they can do it safely. But just yesterday, Boston became the latest city to move its public school system entirely online after a coronavirus spike. What is your message to parents who worry?
Oh, God. God damn. Okay, a coronavirus spike will happen after any restriction. But, let's go use California, for example. There was a spike after some of the schools were, let up. And then, like a week or two later, it fell.
That sending their children to school will endanger not only their kids, but also their teachers and families.
I want to open the schools. The transmittal rate to the teachers is very small, but I want to open the schools. We have to open our country. We're not going to have a country. You can't do this. We can't keep this country closed. There's a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country. You know, I've said it often. The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself. And that's what's happening. And he wants to close down. He'll close down the country if one person in our massive bureaucracy says we should close it down.
Vice President Biden, your response.
Simply not true.
Simply not true, except kind of true, though.
To be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. We ought to be able to safely open, but they need resources to open. You need to be able to, for example, if you're going to open.
And we won't have those resources if the economy's so bad we don't get very much money.
Open a business, have social distancing within the business. You need to have, if you have a restaurant, you need to have plexiglass dividers so people cannot infect one another. You need to be in a position where you can take testing rapidly and know whether a person is in fact infected. You need to be able to trace. You need to be able to provide that.
First of all, you can't test everybody. Most people will get tested. You can't force them to.
All the resources that are needed to do this, and that is not inconsistent.
Also, trace testing is not very accurate at best.
With saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this. If you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town.
It is. Seriously, you should look at, like, New York, on the streets. There's a few homeless people. That's it.
When you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurants that are dying. These are businesses with no...
Also, businesses won't be able to afford plexiglass. And it will cost a crap ton of money to give them plexiglass. So, you're kind of stuck.
No money. Putting up plexiglass is unbelievably expensive, and it's not the answer. I mean, you're going to sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't. Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look at what New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number.
Yeah. Okay. Take a look at the curve, you say. Okay. So, what do we have? We have fairly normal spike. Spike, that was in April. Oh no, ow, god damn it. Okay, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Okay. So, May it starts, April 25th it spikes again. And then on April 28th it falls, and then it starts falling and falling until around, June. Then it starts staying the same, and then right about at October, it starts to go up. October 1st or September 30th, it starts to go up. So, look at that curve. Well, yes, it is impressive. They locked down so hard. Like, businesses were ruined, and, well, you can't even tell New York from what New York is. So, yeah, whatever.
Number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of the way he does. Blue states and red states. They're all the United States. And look at the states that are having such a spike.
Yeah, such a spike. Gotta look at New York, though, and California, too, and North Carolina, and... Wait, all those states have one thing in common with each other. Democrat.
In the coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest.
Okay, prove it. Give me a state. States in the Midwest. How about Iowa? Why not Iowa? Iowa's in the Midwest, so let's go see what Iowa's doing. Oh, what do we seem to have? Constant ups and downs. Let's see. And what do you guess their total? Guess what they peaked at. They peaked at 2,600. So that's it. That's their peak. That's the highest they've ever been. Got it? Only that. Nothing more. And yet, that's, that curve, though. But you're like, oh, well, Iowa has a really... Shut up. Iowa's population is 3.155 million. Not that small of a population. So, yeah. And I'm pretty sure, actually, is Iowa a red state? I don't know. And I'm happy to report Iowa is a heavily red state. So, yeah.
West of the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly.
Upper Midwest. Let's see where Iowa is. Okay, it's not as Midwest as possible. It's kind of around Michigan. But, let's think. Idaho, whatever, Idaho. And I know Idaho's a red state. Whatever. But let's see. Let's see. How many cases they have? Let's see. Okay, so they actually spiked October 13th with 1,324 and have just been constantly up and down, up and down. So, yeah, and then they severely fell to only 348 cases right after the spike. Like, days after the spike, they severely fell. Severely fell. Good job. And they're back up again. They fell, and now they're at 1,000. But you're like, oh, what's the population of Idaho? Well, I just happen to know that the population of Idaho just so happens to be larger than, Iowa, at 1.787 million people. So, tell me why that's happening again? But that will be in the next video.